Hello, students. Welcome to class. Today we're going to study the simple present tense. My name is Daira Consuegra, and I'm going to be here for asking questions and also remembering that you can learn a lot from this video if you want. Okay, let's see. First, what is the present tense? The present tense talks about activities that become habits or routines. Habits that you do every day or routines that you develop during the whole day. But before knowing that, we need to know the pronouns, okay? Because the pronouns will allow you to make sentences with different verbs. So let's start knowing them. I is you, okay? Your person, I. You in singular means the other person, which is tú. He, it means él. She, it's ella. It is when it's talking about animals or plants. You is when talking about plural, it's say ustedes. They, ellos, and we, it means nosotros. So we need to know all these pronouns in order to be able to talk, because the first component of a sentence in English is the subject, and the subject could be a pronoun. I, you, he, she, it, you, they, and we. When we talk about the present tense, we have rules for the third person. Which is the third person? The third person is the pronouns he or she. For example, when we go back, he and she and it are going to use these rules. Verbs add s when you talk about these pronouns. What are the pronouns that I'm mentioning? He, she, or it. They will use these rules. When the verb ends in any letter, except all of these ones, you just add s. For example, I say, he lives in Panama. He lives in Panama. Okay, why the verb lives has an S? It has an S because the rule says that most of the verbs add S when you talk about the third person singular, which is he, she, or it. Oh yes, but you can also say Carlos stays in a hotel. Okay? The verb stays. Why S? Because we're talking about Carlos, and Carlos represents the pronoun he. So every time that we're talking about one person, singular, which is él, ella, in singular, okay, the verb needs the S. That's in that case. But what happened when the verb ends in I, in Y? We have to change the Y into I and add ES. For example, the verb try ends in Y, but has a consonant before. I'm going to add I-E-S. I'm going to eliminate the Y and add the I, la I latina, and ES. For example, in the case, she tries a new dress. Ella se prueba un nuevo vestido. Okay, tries needs this because we're talking about third person, she. Then we have another rule. The verbs that end in S, X, or they add es. For example, miss, misses, buzz, bosses, catch, catches, fix, fixes. So the ending, depending on the ending, you're going to add es. Let's say Maria catches fish. Okay? Maria atrapa peces. Okay? Catch is the original verb, but you add es because we're talking about Maria, which is the pronoun she. Okay? And you have to understand this because if you don't know what pronoun you're talking about, then you won't understand. And the exceptions are the ones that end in O. For example, go and do, you add es. Go, goes, do, does. For example, she goes to Chitre. Okay? She goes to Chitre. She goes. Ella va a Chitre. Goes. Because it ends in O, and we're talking about she, ella, then we add es to the verb. And in here, we need to know the pattern or the order of the sentence. First is the subject. Then we have the verb. And then we have the complement. Okay? The subject, she, ella. The verb, goes, va. The complement, ¿a dónde va? To Chitre. So if we follow this rule, subject, verb, and complement, we will be able to understand and speak in English with any verb that you know. Okay? So let's continue. In here we have some activities regarding our daily routines. For example, every day of your life, you wake up. But why in here I don't have an S in the verb, okay? I is the subject, wake up is the verb, and at 6 o'clock is the complement. Because I'm talking about me. And when you talk about you, or I, or any other person that is not he, she, or it, the verb stays the same, okay? In this case, we don't need to add S to the verb to wake up because we're talking about I. And who is I? Yo, okay? So in here, we just write subject, which is I, verb, which is wake up, and at 6 o'clock is the complement, right? And then I say, I wake up at 6 o'clock. That is a routine that you are developing every day. Es como una rutina, right? That you do every day. So let's continue with the other routine. In this case, we see the difference. If we're talking about third person, we add es. Okay, I get up early. Me levanto temprano. This is for me. I get up early. I wash my face. I have breakfast in the morning. I desayuno. I have breakfast in the morning. I get on the bus. Okay, I get on the bus. I get off the bus. The first one, subo al bus. The other one is bajo del bus. Okay, I arrive at school, or I arrive at work, or wherever you're going. I arrive at school. And what is the order? Do you remember the order? Okay, let's review. Subject, verb, and complement. So the subject is the person who develops the action. I, you, he, or she. Verb is the action. Eat, arrive, go. In this case, yo llego a la escuela. I arrive at school. And let me delete this. Okay. Let's continue. In this one, it says, I go home. Okay. This is the perfect time. Everybody wants to go home. Yo voy a casa. I go home. What is the subject? I. What is the verb? Go. What is the complement? Home. But what happens if I'm talking about ellos? Ellos van a casa. Okay, the same. I say, okay, the subject is ellos. They go home. Okay? But what happens if I'm talking about this person, this guy? Solamente él, okay? He goes home. And in here, we see the difference. Third person needs ES. Why? According to the rules that I already explained, okay? These rules were already explained. And if you go and check them out, you will understand that, okay? I have lunch at 12 o'clock. I have lunch, almuerzo a las 12. If I want to say that is he, él, como si fuera él, el que almuerza a las 12, voy a decir, he has lunch at 12. Okay? Why has? Because have is used for the person I in the normal way, in the base form. But when we talk about, I already mentioned the pronouns, he, she, or it, you have to use the special rules. In other words, I have to understand that he, she, and it need S or ES for the present tense. I have to learn it this way. He, she, and it need S or ES. I, you, we, and they don't need anything, okay? So let's continue. Okay. In here we have, I study English. I study English. Yeah. Yo estudio inglés. Here is the subject. Here is the verb study. And here is the complement English. What happens if it's third person? Tercera persona, okay? We will say she. No, in this case, he. Let's say he. Because it's a he. He study. Oh, yeah, but what happens when the verb ends in Y? Ah, okay. I have to add ES. Okay, he studies English. What is the difference? The person, the pronoun. Okay, when I talk about me, I study English. I'm talking about me, I don't need to add anything to the verb. No necesito nada en el verbo. This is just for third person singular. Tercera persona singular. In this case, he, she, it. Remember that. He, she, it. It's like a chant, okay? I have dinner at 6 o'clock. Okay, I have dinner at 6 o'clock. If it's third person, how it would be? She has dinner at 6 o'clock. I watch TV. Yo veo televisión. Okay, this verb ends in CH. If I'm talking about third person, let's say Jose watches TV. Why? Because Jose is he, and watch needs the ES in order to have the grammatical meaning. Jose ve televisión. If I delete this, okay, people can understand. Jose watch TV, but it's not grammatically correct. No está gramaticalmente bien. So we need to know that we add the ES. Why? Because Jose is representing the pronoun he. Okay? So let's continue with this important topic. I sleep. my favorite activity. Yo duermo, okay? I sleep. But what happens if I'm talking about third person? I am going to say, she sleeps. I add is. Okay, why is? Because remember, all the verbs need s if they don't end in x, ch, x, o, etc. But when the verb ends in any other consonant, you just have to add s. Okay, those are the rules that are at the very beginning. You have to look back and you will understand it again. Okay, and then we have the rules in a more summarized way. As I mentioned before, he, she, and it need these rules. Why? Because they are third personal singular. I say, he works, he studies, he goes, she eats, she cries, she washes, it plays, it tries, it watches, it swims, it spies, it mixes, he rides, he flies, he kisses, él, ella, o esto. But what happens if I'm talking about me, yo? I say, I work without the S, sin la S. I eat, yo como. I play, I swim, I ride, I study, I cry, I try, I spy, I fly, I go, I wash, I watch, I mix, I kiss. The only persons who will add the S or EAS or ES are he, she, or it. What are the pronouns that do not need that? Are I, you, we, and they. They are combined in that way. Okay? You can use this. I work, you eat, we play, they swim. Okay? But when I'm talking about he, she, and it, I have to go to this rule. He works, he eats, she plays, she swims, she rides, and so on. Okay? So basically, it's a matter of remembering the rules. If you remember the rules, you will understand the present tense. In here, this is part of your role as a student, okay? You have to learn all these verbs. Sorry, let me delete this. Okay. You need to understand these verbs, okay? It's very important for you to speak English. We have plenty of verbs, okay? We have all the verbs that you can possibly have with the conjugation in order for you to understand how to use them. Accept means aceptar, and here we have the form for I, you, we, and they, and here we have accepts, that is the form of he, she, it. So the first verb is for I, you, we, and they, and the second one is for he, she, it. So when you read all of them, you will notice that you just have to follow this and you will be able to speak. For example, you want to say, yo estoy de acuerdo. I agree. Ella está de acuerdo. She agrees. Ah, ¿por qué he agrees? Because I'm talking about she. So you have to read all these verbs. I'm going to read just the first part. In that way, you will understand that the second part is the conjugation for he, she, and it, okay? I'm going to write this over here in order for you to know. He, she, and it. they will use this one. This part here, okay? The second verb of each column, okay? When you talk about he, she, or it, but when you talk about, in this case, I, you, we, and they, you will use the first column. You say, I accept, I achieve, I act, you adapt, we add, we advise, they agree, they aim, etc., etc. So I'm going to read all the verbs just in the first part in order for you to understand the pronunciation, and then you can study that by yourself. Remember that you need to have your self-learning time, okay? Let's start. Accept, achieve, act, adapt, add, advise, agree, aim, allow, analyze, answer, apologize, apply, argue, arrange, ask, assist, attack, bake, the verb to be, which is, am, or are, become, begin, believe, bet, borrow. In the next column, break, build, buy, calculate, call, carry, change, choose, clean, climb, close, collect, come, compete, complete, cook, copy, count, create, cry, dance, decide, define, deliver, demand. Okay. And then in the list, we continue with the list. Dream, drive, eat, educate, enter, examine, excite, expect, explore, fall, feel, finish, fix, fly, follow, forget, frown, garden, give, go, greet, grow, have, hear, and help. Hide, hold, hope, hunt, identify, ignore, imagine, improve, include, influence, inspect, introduce, invent, invite, jump, keep, kiss, knock, know, laugh, learn, live, listen, live, and look. Love, manage, meet, miss, move, need, notice, open, paint, park, pay, play, point, possess, practice, prefer, prepare, present, print, proof, pull, push, read, receive, and recognize. Record, refuse, regard, release, remember, repeat, replace, report, rest, return, risk, wrong, save, search, see, sell, send, serve, shine, show, shot, sing, sit, sleep, and smile. Solve, speak, spend, spill, spin, spread, stand, start, stop. Study, succeed, suffer, suggest, supply, support, surprise, take, talk, teach, tell, think, throw, tie, touch, train. In the other column, travel, try, turn, understand, use, visit, volunteer, wait, walk, want, watch, wear, way, welcome, whisper, wish, work, worry, write, young, yell, yearn, yield, sip, zoom, like zoom. Then, knowing all these meanings of these verbs, because they are very important, you can practice the present continuous tense. What is the present continuous tense? Is when you are going to use the verb to be plus the verb in ing. In the affirmative form, we have the subject, and, is, or are, plus the verb with the ing. For example, he is used with is. That's why the subject is he. Is the appropriate verb to be, and work is the verb, and then we add the ing. Él está trabajando. He is working. In the negative form, I just have to add the not after the verb to be. So I have to say, él no está trabajando. He is not working. So why is important that we know all the other verbs? Why do we need to know the verbs? Because that way you can understand or do sentences. For example, you can say, ella está enseñando. You say, teach es enseñar. Okay. Teach is the main verb. According to the present continuous tense, I have to add the verb to be. She is teaching. She is not teaching. She is not teaching. So I just have to add the ing to the main verb. And that is why the list is very long for you to study. Because if you know, for example, that the verb collect or the verb create is crear, and you want to say, la profesora está creando un proyecto, you can say, el subject, the professor is creating a project. So you learn the verbs first, and then you will be able to conjugate the verbs in the appropriate tense. In this case, the present continuous tense. That is actions in the moment, acciones en el momento. And the interrogative form is when you use the question and you ask yourself, is he working? ¿Está él trabajando? Is she working? ¿Está ella trabajando? So what is the order? You use the verb to be from the pronoun, the verb, and then you use the verb in ing. That is why you need to know the verb to be. The verb to be is the most important verb because you need to know that in order to have other tenses. In here, we have a practice in Padlet. Let me see if it opens. In here, you're going to try to add sentences in the present tense, okay? And what are you going to do? You're going to make a comparison between the simple present tense and the present continuous. And you are going to help yourself with the verbs. And then you add the sentence and you mix the verbs and you can make the comparison. Okay, the present tense is when you add actions that happens, for example, like habits, right? You say, okay, I'm going to write one in the present tense, okay? I wake up at 5. That's a routine, that's in the present tense. But when you want to say something in the present continuous tense, for example, you say, oh, estoy tomando café. Ahorita, you say, I am drinking coffee. Okay, but how do I know that drinking is tomando? Well, you have to learn the vocabulary words. You have to look by yourself. That's part of yourself learning. You have to learn by yourself. You have to look for information that allows you to understand the topic. Okay, I'm giving you a guide, but you have to also study by yourself. Okay, so let me see. Hold on, I'm going to close this. Yes. Okay, so that practice is part of your assignment. Okay, you need to practice writing sentences in the present tense and also in the present progressive tense. And here I have an example, okay? Yo estoy creando un proyecto, okay? I am creating a project. Ella está creando un proyecto. She is creating a project. It's the same pattern. The only thing that is different here is the verb, am and is. Why? Because remember, I is used with am. He, she, it use is. And you, we, and they use are. So if you know that, you will be able to write sentences. And here we have another example. I am cooking salad in the affirmative form. When I want to make it negative, I say, I am not cooking salad. No estoy cocinando ninguna ensalada. Alguien me pregunta, are you cooking salad? And I say, yes, I am, or no, I am not. Sí or no. That's the way in which you answer. And that's everything for today with these topics. I hope that you have understood, and it's a pleasure for me to have been with you here. Thank you very much. That's it.